For as long as I can remember, I've been in love with animation. Growing up, my eyes were glued to the television. Nothing but me, cable, notebook for drawing, and notes for whenever a show would have lore. Surprise, surprise, I've always been into this. Since you're watching this, I'm assuming you too are a fan of animation. And if you live in the USA like me, then you're likely familiar with the big three. The top dogs known for their animated series that has really kept the medium alive on television for years. The mouse that knows all, Disney Channel. The orange blob that accentuates youth, Nickelodeon. And the underdog that I personally always wanted to give the crown to, Cartoon Network. So much monumental game-changing animation has stemmed from these networks, even expanding to other platforms over the years. However, as we approach 2020, entering a brand new decade, animation is about to have one of its biggest changes yet. Something that we kind of already saw take form with Netflix originals, Amazon Prime series, and more. A change that I believe could actually be for the better. Welcome back to the Roundtable. I'm Fox, and I'm here to break down why streaming is the future of animation and how the size that the big three of animation have chosen will impact everything about animation going forward. So with all that said, let's dive in. Now, this conversation really sparked the other day when I noticed that Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network were all trending. And not just for a brief moment, I'm talking about for a few hours. This in itself was invoked by the announcement that Netflix and Nickelodeon have formed a multi-year deal to produce original animated feature films and television series based on both the Nickelodeon library of characters as well as new IP. And although we can chalk up the timing of this announcement to the launch of Disney Plus, coming immediately the day after, this move was something we could see coming for a very long time. Considering Nickelodeon distributed the Rocko's Modern Life special Static Cling and the Invaders MTV movie Enter the Florpus onto Netflix at the tail end of the summer, and recently at the time of recording, a bunch of Nickelodeon properties resurfaced onto the platform, both live action and animated. And before we dive into what this means for Nickelodeon, we have to look at the bigger picture. Cable is dying. There is no denying that. Cord cutting is more prevalent than ever. Ratings don't matter. And this, of course, was extremely troublesome for animation studios and networks. Considering the demographics of these channels and the programming, it's not hard to see that the target demographic itself has little to no say in their investment of these programs, considering they were likely not the ones paying for cable in the first place. With so many streaming services coming out of the woodwork, the parent company of these networks and studios finally made a decision. Disney Channel and Disney XD properties, of course, going to Disney Plus, Cartoon Network properties being assigned to HBO Max, which of course is owned by Cartoon Network's parent company, so this makes perfect sense. But what was there for Viacom to do? They didn't have their own streaming services. Some of their shows are on Hulu, some of their shows are on Amazon Prime. Do they make Hulu originals, Prime originals? Do they just try to keep the ball rolling on television? Obviously, we know the answer to all of that is no, but in my personal opinion, despite me already owning a Disney Plus subscription and planning to invest in an HBO Max subscription because I'm a sheep, I would say Viacom and Nickelodeon actually made the smartest move by going with Netflix. Because as it stands right now, they're still the most accessible streaming service. Most people already have Netflix, with Hulu also being prevalent but not as common. And of course, if you already have Amazon Prime, you have access to the Prime Video library. So although, as far as I'm concerned, Prime does have a smaller audience than Netflix or Hulu, Nickelodeon going to them wouldn't have been a bad move per se, but rather an underwhelming one, as most people I know won't even go out of their way to access Prime Video. That being said, if you do have Prime Video, watch Costume Quest. The big thing is, these studios aren't just dumping pre-existing material on the service, airing new episodes on television and calling it a day. They all, in some way, shape, or form, have exclusive content for these services that likely won't be airing on television at all. In Cartoon Network's case, Tig and Seek and the Fungies are already announced for HBO Max as exclusives, and Infinity Train was included in their lineup, but they didn't specify whether or not that would be exclusive. I guess we'll see how that goes, but HBO Max also has Adventure Time Distant Lands, a sequel series comprising of 4 specials that run for an hour runtime. Something I don't think the network has done since the new Scooby-Doo movie series, like all the way back in what, the 70s, 80s? Before Cartoon Network was even a thing. So yeah, I guess this is the first time Cartoon Network is doing that, huh? Nickelodeon's Netflix exclusives seem to include a SpongeBob spinoff. I can only assume the Wonder Park animated series, I pray to God Planet Panic, and the live-action Avatar The Last Airbender adaptation. Disney Plus has Pixar shorts, but a Monsters, Inc. animated series exclusive to the service is also in the pipeline. The thing is, I don't see them having exclusive releases on streaming services while still running episodes on television forever. What we're seeing here isn't all that we're getting. If anything, it's the start of a transition. I think by the end of this decade, cable may be practically non-existent, with the future of animation being entirely on streaming. Cable and these channels may still be around. I could not see them completely folding within 10 years, but if anything, the content exclusive on these services won't be seen on television for at least a year. And by that point, who's going to watch the reruns? Now, this doesn't mean live feeds would be entirely non-existent either. Streaming upgrades such as Hulu Live and YouTube TV are evidence that the concept of cable can live on in other forms. Now, I believe a big fear with streaming services, especially when it comes to animation, is getting an entire season all at once, then having to wait months, if not a full year, before the next one. Luckily, I believe streaming services are already ahead of the curve, with Disney Plus distributing brand new episodes on a weekly basis. And Netflix already announced they were going to follow suit. Now, this was something Hulu was already doing with their originals, but come on, they're Hulu originals. No one's paying attention to them, although they should because Pen 15 is amazing. So in terms of distribution, brand new episodes of these animated series will still likely have a certain day of the week. The time itself will just be eliminated. Once an episode is up, it's up to you to consume as quickly as possible and then join the conversation online. For some people, this may become an annoyance. Imagine sleeping in, checking social media, and there's spoilers everywhere. Asshole channels like the Roundtable is not gonna help either. That was a joke, pause that typing. But in a lot of ways, networks have already adapted to this as well. Disney Channel and Cartoon Network in particular releasing brand new episodes on the app. In Disney Channel's case, hours before they air on television. So it's not as if this transitional period wasn't already happening. But what gets me excited about this change is the content itself. A lot of material on television, especially animation on a network targeted towards children and teenagers, was restricted by the chains of censorship and the S&P, which is why a lot of shows take a while before they get super edgy. Although Disney Channel's always kind of just went with the flow, because they're Disney. But shows like Adventure Time, Avatar, Steven Universe, they were chained by standards and practices and international countries who would also view these episodes on television. But now, although I doubt Pearl's gonna say fuck or that we're gonna see Finn swing his dick around willy-nilly, these shows will likely be able to have longer runtimes, edgier content, making them perceived to be less edgy as time goes by, as they already should be, and just mature moments and themes that surpass what we already have. It's not just a big deal, it's a great deal. It may sound daunting at first, having to get access to multiple streaming services just to keep up with shows. And yeah, in a lot of aspects, it defeats the purpose of cable 100%. But I think all of that is just an adjustment period. Prices may lower, bundle packs may come out, like with Disney Plus, ESPN, and Hulu, and just in general, I know you're a dirty little pirate. Animation is stronger than ever. And although the dollar signs surrounding these services makes it really intimidating, I'm confident everything will work out exactly the way it's meant to be. So with everybody working in animation right now, hats off to you. I cannot wait to see what you're going to make. 2020, bring it on! But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? What's your take on these streaming wars? And if you had to pick just one streaming service, what would it be? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at RoundtableVids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstrikVox. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to JANKYBONES for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of their amazing art, you can find them on Tumblr at JANKYBONES, Twitter and Instagram at BoneJanky, and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Link in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstrikVox signing out.